I don't know, it's like you tell yourself, I need to get the A7S III, you know, like this is the last camera body that I'll ever need, and no matter what else happens, even if I don't get better ideas as views, at least I'll have that A7S III camera body, you know?
Could be worse, you know? A woman could cut your penis off and throw it out the window of a moving car. Or your parents could force you into an arranged marriage.
That's actually genuinely horrifying. I discovered Fight Club as a sophomore in high school at a time in which I was suffering from insomnia and acne. I felt very ugly at that time, and oftentimes I would see my friends tell me, hey man, you look really tired, is everything okay? And that would make me feel so self-conscious. Then when I watched the movie, I was actually kind of repulsed immediately. As someone who was always into self-improvement-y things and liked having this mental conception that, hey man, one day I'm gonna be like really on top of my stuff. I'm gonna be totally put together and I'm always gonna feel on purpose. Hearing that line, that self-improvement is masturbation, it made me feel grossed out. I didn't like that idea. But I couldn't stop thinking about the movie, and then I watched it a second time. And that whole philosophy, especially that devil may care, I don't give a fuck mentality, it sort of became attractive to me. And just like the main character, after watching that movie and after a few months of not being able to sleep well, I just stopped caring. I decided, screw it. And so I would walk through the hallways at school with bags under my eyes, with dark circles and with acne, and then suddenly when the other students would say, hey man, you look really tired, is everything okay? I would say to them, yeah man, everything's great. I feel great, this is just what I look like. I just stopped worrying about the fact that I couldn't sleep, and I sort of told myself, screw it, I'm ugly right now. It's cool. Suddenly that gave me a sense of freedom, and shortly after I actually was able to sleep better because I didn't have so much anxiety about waking up looking tired and what the other kids might say about me. And that sentiment is sort of a perfect metaphor for the things I've pursued in my life, and noticing that when I wanted something too bad, when I really was efforting after something or really had a lot of anxiety about getting it, it would totally mess up the routine, it would mess up my ambition towards it. And when I still cared, but sort of let go of the result, when I just said, screw it, you know, I'm doing what I can, things just got a little more liquid. They got easier to maneuver. And this is an idea that has showed up multiple times in my life in various facets. When I liked a girl too much in the past. If I liked her too much, if I became obsessed with her, if I was kind of thinking like, how can I walk to get her to be attracted to me, which is the thought that every guy has sort of gone through at some point, then invariably that girl would not be interested in me. If I wanted to get a job and I wanted it too badly, then no matter how much I prepped the demo, no matter how much I rehearsed the questions, I think the interviewer could sort of see that desperation and they would not want to hire me for some reason. And especially in the world of acting, my desire to book a job, to give the casting director what he or she wanted, really interfered with my ability to give a performance. Instead of thinking, how do I want to create this character? How do I want to make a choice that I think would be cool? I would just think, what do they want? What do they want? How can I give them what they want? And as a result of that, my performances would be so cliche, so boring, so uninspired. I'm not saying that it isn't cool to care about things. I care about things and I want things very deeply, but it cannot be denied that there is a certain flair that arrives in a person when he or she does things, take actions, makes efforts, but also sort of doesn't care. An old YouTuber that I used to watch said this about Gary Vaynerchuk. He gives the most fucks and also somehow the least fucks in the room. And that's the sort of mentality that I aspire for now. I want to get more footage than any other YouTuber. I want to script more aggressively. But on some level, I also want to hit upload and not give a fuck and not care what the views look like, what anything looks like. I just want to make, I just want to do, I want to create for myself. And of course it's healthy, natural, good to care about the results, but not to the demise of one's own work. Periodically, I've come back to that film Fight Club, and this isn't to say that I think the philosophy of Tyler Durden is like this all perfect philosophy. The guy was essentially a cult leader and had numerous conflicting ideologies. But if I ever find myself caring too much about the results of things and not really investing myself in the process, in the work, then I like to watch clips from that movie so that I can sort of seep into that character of not caring so much. In this video, I'm gonna go over 3 quotes from the movie Fight Club and how I sort of think about them today. The first one is this: you are not special, you're not a beautiful or unique snowflake, you are the same decaying organic matter as everything else. I think part of the most maturing aspects of adulthood for me has been realizing that I'm not as special as I thought I was when I was a kid. As a kid, I just had this inherent assumption that the things I would do with my life would be incredible. But as I moved into my early 20s, I began to have this sinking feeling that I should probably work my ass off, that I might not be as special as I initially thought I was. This came to an all-time high in 2017 when I went to an acting workshop in Mumbai with a guy named Atul Mongia. In the world of acting in Hindi cinema, he's actually kind of a legend. He's trained up actors like Ranveer Singh and Vicky Kaushal. And in that workshop, I noticed that a decent portion of the actors there were more dedicated, more talented, better trained, more fit, more attractive than me. And when I initially saw their performance against mine, I couldn't think of a good reason why anyone would want to hire me over them. That newfound perspective helped me scale back my goals. It helped me deal with that sort of idea that I've been harboring deep down, that I was at war with the world. That the reason I didn't get a lot of those things I initially wanted wasn't because of a lack of talent or a lack of dedication from me, but rather just because the world was unfair. I mean, the world may still be unfair, but I realized that there was so much I could do to work on myself, and I didn't need to harbor any hate for the external world for why I didn't get what I wanted. It made me realize that I could go back and work on my portfolio even more. Take more acting classes, work on different accents, even put together my own demo reels. This quote reminds me that I'm actually not a special snowflake. Even when a YouTube video of mine succeeds and people tell me, oh dude, you're so talented, you're so funny, I can sort of scale back and think to myself, you know what, I'm actually not that talented, I'm not that good right now, and there's still so much that I could work on in myself. Quote number 2, it's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. I had this strange experience right as I was about to start teaching where I suddenly lost hearing in my right ear. And at first I was in denial of it, but I was sort of walking around and I would cover up my left ear and realize that everything became really muffled after I covered it up. And I would do this periodically throughout the day in like meetings, quietly, covering up my ear, realizing I couldn't hear. And I thought to myself, I don't know how this is happening, but maybe I'm just losing hearing in one of my ears. And I went through all the stages of grief. At first I thought to myself, wow, this is actually pretty awful. I guess I just have to live with the fact that I can't hear anymore. And then of course, when I went in for a checkup, the aide there just flushed both of my ears with this pumping system. And this is kind of gross, but I had a lot of earwax fall out of both my ears. And then all of a sudden it felt like I could hear supersonic. And I felt such an immense gratitude. I met my buddy at a record store right afterwards and I was so happy. I was grinning ear to ear. And he asked me, why are you so happy? And I was like, I can hear really well. It was sort of a forced stoic exercise that I was pushed into. Now I try to connect this quote with so many things when I'm feeling aspirational for something and I wanna bring this thing to life so badly. I tell myself, you know what? It's only after I've lost everything. I have lost everything that I'm free to do anything. So all this stuff that I'm chasing, all these things that I'm trying to make happen, let's just assume none of it's gonna happen. Just as a mental exercise. Like, it's not gonna come to life. Everything you wanna go after, all your dreams, bro, it's just not gonna happen. You would think this would make me feel depressed, but it doesn't. It just makes me feel free. It makes me think, okay, I guess that's the new baseline. None of these things are gonna happen. Would I do this anyway? Would I still go out and shoot in the field today? Would I make this next video? Would I script this thing out? I think I probably would, because I love to tell stories. I like to make videos. I love acting. The email that I'm gonna send to this agent is gonna go into his spam folder. He's never even gonna see it. And so when I send that email anyway, when I make the video anyway, there's this sort of nonchalance that kicks in, like, I guess I've already accepted the fact that this isn't gonna work out, so what could you possibly take away from me? I'm just gonna do it anyway. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes. Many of the classes are just an hour long, but they can help you quickly pick up skills in film production, storyboarding, animation, After Effects, design, photography, and even how to start a YouTube channel. Members get unlimited access to thousands of inspiring classes with hands-on projects and feedback from a community of millions. Most classes are under 60 minutes with short lessons to fit any schedule. I'm actually starting Madi Hapoya's Skillshare course, partly because I'm a huge fan of his, but also because I'm prepping for a certain watches once video, and it will be useful for me to pick up on his tics. But in his class, he talks about how to grow an audience and how to become a better filmmaker. And it's a course I would definitely recommend checking out if you're interested in starting a channel of your own. I've partnered with Skillshare a few times now. They're one of my favorite brands to work with. An annual subscription to Skillshare Premium costs less than $10 per month. The first 1,000 people to click the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. The third quote is this: you buy furniture. You tell yourself, this is the last sofa I will ever need in my life. No matter what happens, I got that sofa thing covered. A favorite new YouTuber of mine is Pony Smasher. That's the alias of David Sandberg, who directed Lights Out, Annabelle Creation, and most recently Shazam. As he himself tells his story, he was just this broke guy living in Sweden, making these low-budget short films with his wife, mostly horror shorts, and he didn't know how he would ever get to Hollywood. And after several years making videos, one of his shorts, Lights Out, got like 16 million views. It went super viral, and the studios noticed this. They flew him out to LA, gave him a budget, and he turned Lights Out into a feature film that became a really big success. This went to kick off his mainstream directing career, and now his 3 movies have accumulated something like $800 million at the box office. When I hear this play out, when I listen to him explain this story, this incredibly inspirational story in like an interview, I mentally thought to myself, you know, if that ever happened to me, if we ever got to work on these big projects, I'd probably just wake up every day super happy. First thing in the morning, I'd be happy and I would just walk around all day thinking to myself, oh damn, I'm like living my dream, I'm a big director. But of course, this would not be the case. In one of his videos, David Sandberg, Pony Smasher, talks about how when a movie wraps, you still have to deal with yourself. If you're a self-hating, self-loathing son of a bitch, that's what you're gonna stay. And the fact that you got to make a big movie or pursue your dream, whatever it might be, that's not gonna change that. You still have to live with yourself and live with your own mind. So you just have to let go. Why care so much? Don't try to take the journey too seriously. Don't try to elevate its significance too much. Just let go. Life will go on, so who gives a fuck? If you're new to the channel, my name is Nikhil. This channel is a combination between comedy sketches and more genuine videos like this one with topics in mind for the creative entrepreneur. If that's something that appeals to you, then consider subscribing. And for those of us who are willing to do the work without getting too attached, to us I say, greatness is coming. Cheers.